Welcome to the Stories of Starting podcast. I'm Heather Boyd. As a self-employed artist for the last 30 years, I'm fascinated with people's passions and creative projects. In this series, we discover how people like you have started new projects by thinking outside the box, going with the flow, and tapping into their childhood imagination. Hey everybody, today I am here with my sister. Yes, and we are at the cottage, my parents' cottage, and they've had this cottage how long?
40 years?
40 years, I think. Yeah, so it's a pretty beautiful place. And so Christin is my sister. I'm going to get her to introduce herself, but she's in town from out west, which is amazing. Nice to see her once a year. So Christin, please introduce yourself and tell us what it is you do.
Okay, hi, my name is Christin Boyd, and I grew up in Ottawa with my sister Heather. And after moving various places, settled out west on Salt Spring Island in the Gulf Islands near Vancouver Island. So yeah, and I'm there with my two sons.
Who are here.
Yes.
Reading.
Yeah. And I do many things on the island. My career has evolved, but my main thing is that I do natural therapies. So I'm a Bowen Technique practitioner, also Reiki 3/Master, and I do relaxation massage as well.
Amazing. That's pretty well covers it, eh?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And so you have a few very interesting kind of transition periods that you've had in your life. Of course, the biggest one was when you moved from IT to healing modalities. And so Christin studied at University of Western?
Yeah.
Computer science?
Yeah, computer science.
Yeah. Do they even call it computer science anymore?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. So then you went into IT, working for Nortel, making mega bucks compared to the artist lifestyle. Yeah. But then when you were in Australia, that's when you morphed out of the IT.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
That I was living actually in England, working for Nortel again, but on a short-term assignment there.
Yeah.
And then decided that I wanted to break away from IT.
Cool.
Moving to Australia seemed like the perfect time to do it.
Nice.
But after a year of exploring, nothing really clicked in. And then, I have a love for scuba diving, which is very expensive.
Yes.
So I went back into IT in Australia.
Okay.
So I was working for another telecoms company there, and yeah, so that was but it was paying the bills. I was going on live aboard trips, doing my scuba diving, so it was a great means to an end.
Amazing.
But then it was when I was pregnant with my first child, that's when I really decided it was time for a break.
Yes.
I did just take a leave of absence, but I think in my mind I knew I wasn't going back.
Going back, okay. And then you studied the Bowen in Australia, which is where Bowen was founded.
That's right.
So tell people, I think a lot of people don't know what Bowen is, so just briefly tell us what it is.
Okay, well, it's a soft tissue technique, but it's very different from massage. So it's more like hitting a bunch of reset buttons in the body.
Cool.
And so it is sort of working along the meridians. I think Tom Bowen was very interested in Eastern medicine. Okay. And so a lot of that was incorporated in his work. But really, he says that it was just an inspiration brought to him. So he developed it over working on thousands of patients and just doing what he felt worked, and then just having tremendous results.
Amazing.
And then when he was nearing the end of his life, I think he sensed it and he passed it on, but only to a very small group of people. He was a man of very few words, and he didn't formally teach, but towards the end of his life he allowed, the story goes he allowed 6 people to observe him. Oh, wow. And one of those created the College of Bowen technique in Australia, and then since I think some of the other ones have come out and done their own sort of flavor, but it started very small.
Interesting. And I remember when you were starting, you practiced on family members, and I remember at one point when you had been established on the island, you even talked about doing therapy with a horse that you had success dealing with. So it's also used on animals, which is interesting.
They really respond well to it.
Amazing.
And there's a whole branch of Bowen, so you can actually go and be trained as a horse Bowen practitioner.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Or there's another branch for small animals, like mostly dogs and cats. But,
so I actually didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so I never formally studied those branches, but I certainly, friends and family, and I did what I could, and it's fascinating. They really seem to appreciate and benefit from it.
That's amazing. And now your lifestyle on Salt Spring Island is completely different than what one would have lived in the IT industry. And Salt Spring is a very sort of more hippie-like community, very small town vibe, seasonal place. A lot of people, tourists in the summer, and regulars in the winter type of thing. And so your lifestyle is very more, you've slowed down your lifestyle, more natural. You're into very natural. I know you're into natural remedies, natural eating. Of course, you have some food intolerances, so that also affects how you eat. And so, but also you're very interested in essential oils.
Certainly, it's been an interest of mine for a long time. I actually amassed quite a collection in Australia, and I sort of dabbled in it, though. Again, no formal study, but lots of reading, and of course, looking up on the internet now. Yes. And but then I sort of went to the wayside, and then when I moved to Salt Spring, met some women who are really into it, and we had a great little community, and still do, exchanging information, and finding really good quality oils, and it's amazing, and I've gotten to the point now I have this huge collection, but really there's probably about half a dozen that are the go-tos.
And what is the brand that you use?
doTERRA.
So are you a rep for doTERRA?
I'm not. I guess officially I am, but I'm not. You're really doing that a lot. Okay. But I've just joined a wonderful collective of practitioners. Oh, fantastic. So there are 2 women there who are really focusing on distributing.
Nice.
And again, it's wonderful to, if I ever have questions, it is a great community that way.
Wow, and it's really complementary to what you're doing with the natural, therapies. And,
And the interesting thing about Bowen is part of our training is it actually doesn't specifically mix well with other therapies. So if you get a Bowen treatment, one of the recommendations would be that you don't have any other body work for the next week.
Interesting.
But essential oils are a wonderful add-on. So those can, work well. Wow. Whereas something like body work, it's really a matter of giving each modality a chance to do its job. So you don't want to have a Bowen treatment and then start massaging it, because that's like giving mixed signals to the body.
Well, and you won't know personally what is actually effective for your body. So that's great. And I'm going to definitely link up your website and your contact information if anybody has any questions about the Bowen or even the Reiki, the essential oils.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I've just recently had renewed energy around the Reiki. I learned that in Australia by a wonderful couple at the time, Franz and Bronwyn Stine, and they ran the International House of Reiki.
Wow.
Yeah, and it really is international. It was then, but even more so now, because Bronwyn still lives in Australia, Franz now lives in Holland, and they both travel around the world teaching.
Amazing.
So back in February, I was able to sit my Reiki 3 again with Franz, and that was exciting. So I'm very infused with that energy again.
Fantastic. Now. I love it. And another thing you told me that you love to do is dance. And what is it called? The satsang or something? What is that dance?
Well, Dance Temple is one thing I enjoy. Dance is huge on Salt Spring Island, and one of the events that happens, twice a week now, and then sometimes they have other events on top of that. But it's just basically a group of people getting together and doing ecstatic dance, and so it's wonderful. They, you know, they're guidelines, like on the dance floor. You shouldn't talk. And so it's not like going dancing like it's a pickup joint. You know, you get to just go and, you know, allow your body to express its way however it wants, and enjoy the music. So
that's so interesting, because my first interview was with Natasha Henderson, who had gone into something called groove dance, which maybe has some of the same concepts. It's a little more structured in that there are specific steps that you follow for each song, but also same rules, you know, no talking, you know, you don't pay attention to what other people are doing, you really focus on what you're doing, and you don't judge each other, don't judge yourself. And so I think dance is such a wonderful therapy in itself, in whatever form, you know. That's really great.
Yeah, for
cool.
sure.
So that's one thing that I know you're really into, and a couple of other things. One is you actually pose for life drawing, which I find really super interesting, and another instance of like, you know, getting out of your shell, doing something different, and it's fantastic because you're an artist, and so you having done a lot of art and taken a lot of art courses, this is like going on the other side and from the other perspective. So tell us a little about your life modeling.
Yeah, well, I guess my first exposure is actually being the artist, doing the drawing. In Australia, I was part of a life drawing group, and probably weekly I would go, and I found, because really, you know, I did a lot of art in high school, and then I kind of let it go when I started focusing on computer science and other things, and so it was great for me to get back into that creativity. So I would go, and often I guess I didn't really think about it though until I got pregnant. And then I always wanted to. I thought, oh, that'd be so cool to have pictures of me pregnant. But I never did. And so I don't know what, I think it was a friend of mine who did it when, after moving to Salt Spring. She was making a little extra money doing it. And, you know, as I said, on Salt Spring, sometimes it gets very creative actually making a living there. So I said, oh, well, what the heck, you know, I'll just give it a try. Because when I do life drawing, it's like, it's just you're drawing something. It's not, you know, you're not even specifically drawing a body. It's just, you know, that is the object that you're drawing. Focused, so I knew, you know, I just I get out there and I gave it a try, and it was actually amazingly easy.
Wow, that's having had the experience of drawing. And it's funny because when I was pregnant with Mimi, I had that same thought. Oh my God, now or never. Let's pose for life drawing. And so what I did was I actually got two good friends of mine, Eftal and Mine, who were artists but never really had an opportunity to draw. So I had them over to my apartment and posed for them. So I have these beautiful drawings of myself pregnant done by them, and it was just a beautiful atmosphere to do it in.
Lovely.
That's so cool. And then the other thing I really wanted to talk about was you dove into Toastmasters a few years ago.
That was
tell
huge.
Us all about Toastmasters.
And I think really between you as my inspiration and Toastmasters, that's how I got up the gumption to actually make my own YouTube channel and start doing those things. So but Toastmasters has been so wonderful. Wow. It's, you know, just the first year I just, you know, it's very structured actually. The first time I ever went, I was really quite shocked. I'd heard of Toastmasters for years, probably since university, never joined, and I've been absolutely petrified of public speaking.
Like 90% of the population.
And I guess my best story is when I first came on the island, I wanted to get the word out there about Bowen, and so I started just, you know, talking to everyone, but then I actually arranged to do a talk at one of the local natural pharmacies, and they had a series, I think once a month they'd have a speaker in. And I, you know, I was so nervous. I thought, no, I gotta do this.
Do it.
And so I got there, and actually, thankfully, not very many people came because I was so nervous. I think I was sick as well. And I got out there, I started my speech,
Yeah.
and then I actually passed out.
You seriously passed out?
I seriously passed out.
Oh my
I hit my
God.
head. They called the ambulance.
Okay, this is crazy. I didn't know this.
And so one of the women who was in the audience had to accompany me in the ambulance
Oh my
to the
God.
hospital while I got checked out.
Okay, that's a story.
So
that's
so
amazing.
that was my first public speaking experience on Salt Spring.
Cannot get worse than that,
Yeah,
guys.
pretty much. And maybe that helped because, like,
Yeah.
after that, I thought, okay, well, this can't be worse. Like,
Nothing
really.
worse can happen.
Yeah, and then the Toastmasters became and still is a wonderful social experience
Yeah.
for me too.
Yeah.
So it's a great group of people from all walks of life and all ages, and people I wouldn't normally meet.
Yeah.
And it was great.
That's amazing. I actually did an online course with my friend Susanna Baum. I might have sent you her things, but she's a public speaking coach.
Oh,
I'm actually
yeah.
going to interview her coming up soon.
Wonderful.
But she actually has a great structure to how to, structure your speech and stuff.
yeah.
So I started with that when I had to do my first big speech. But I really believe Toastmasters is a great organization, and I'd love to try it.
Yeah,
But
well,
you
and the
said
wonder-
they have online ones too?
That's just starting
Yeah,
up. And
okay.
actually, our Salt Spring group is just starting up an online one, which is really
Okay.
cool because, like, it's really is international. Like,
Okay.
people from the States, people from Europe,
Wow.
So it's...
So tell us how the online one works. We might have some people that are interested in
Yeah,
that.
well, right now it's just in its pilot stage, so
Okay.
I don't know how many members we're inviting, but certainly it's not even, the videos aren't on public.
Okay.
But if you are really interested, you can contact me,
DM you
and
and maybe other people would like to start up something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Learn from what you're doing and
Yeah.
start up something.
Yeah, and
like
I
that.
believe if you looked on the Toastmaster International page, you might even
Find
find
some.
some links of ones that are up and going that you
That's
could
so
actually
cool.
join.
Amazing. So, Christin, is there anything else you'd like to share? Any tips? Any inspiration? Anything goes,
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it is things that I've gotten from you.
Oh,
Just about, about saying yes, and just not turning down any opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
even for this interview, at
Yeah.
first I thought, oh my God.
You did not want to do this.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Oh my
but
gosh.
it's great. You just
Yeah.
you just try it, and
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. And like I was saying to Christin, don't worry, just say whatever and I'll just edit it out. So it's all good. But I don't think we're going to have to edit this video at all. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you so
Great.
much.
Oh,
It was
thank
fantastic.
you.
And let's go lie on the beach and go swimming.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Stories of Starting. Until next time, always remember, your story matters.